Lagos is a very lousy town, smelly town by the ways because of the existence of a lot of lagoons and, the hygienic practice of the hosts. Economic liberation of Ndi Igbo is something I believe that if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had put the same energy he put in towards the total separation of Ndi Igbo from the country called Nigeria, Ndi Igbo or Ala Igbo would have been more prosperous than it is today. If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had dedicated a lot of energy in the southeast preaching economic Biafra, that is the economic emancipation and the liberation of Ndi Igbo, just like the Catalonians did in Barcelona. The southeast will be a cynosure for a lot of Nigerians. You might like to share this if you believe in the ideology I am espousing. Share, like, and comment your opinion. All right? It is very important, not just for growth, but for higher reach and the change of thought from our own people. Thank you. Continue. The migration of southeastern indigenes to the west, the north, and every other place apart from the southeast is not by choice, but a necessity. Now me talk now. We have more than 30 universities in the southeast, right? And then every year we churn out graduates and skilled manpower in the southeast. And then we begin to wonder why a lot of them moves to Lagos, Abuja, Ogun State, and even Kano and maybe Sokoto in search of greener pastures. Now we begin to say that there is a brain drain in the southeast. A lot of professionals are leaving the southeast. The same even applies to Nigeria. Now, where the workforce or where the demand for labor is available, that is where you see people run to. That is why if you go to Lagos, you see about a greater percentage of Ndi Igbo residing and working in Lagos. Not just because they love Lagos. Lagos is a very lousy town, smelly town by the ways because of the existence of a lot of lagoons and, the hygienic practice of the hosts. Now, ask yourself in the southeast, how many factories are in the southeast to absorb the graduates we churn out on a yearly basis? You might ask yourself, or you might just be deceiving yourself by saying that we have companies in Onitsha, Nnewi, and maybe the Aba industrial clusters. But how many of those factories you have in the southeast can employ 3,000 workers comfortably? That's why I tell a lot of people, and I always persistently say this, that if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had dedicated a lot of energy in the southeast preaching economic Biafra, that is the economic emancipation and the liberation of Ndi Igbo, just like the Catalonians did in Barcelona. The southeast will be a cynosure for a lot of Nigerians. Now you see a lot of Ndi Igbo go to Lagos, and because of want of space to stay, we go by lagoons, makana iji ego, right? and then we sandfill it over a period of time. Because some of those structures are built without approval. Ibido play with the blame game, and then the victim mentality comes into the fore. Economic liberation of Ndi Igbo is something I believe that if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had put the same energy he put in towards the total separation of Ndi Igbo from the country called Nigeria, Ndi Igbo or Ala Igbo would have been more prosperous than it is today. Yes, we can always give credence to a lot of Igbo entrepreneurs who have taken it upon themselves to, bring their businesses home. You talk about people like Ubuawa, you talk about someone like Innocent Ibeto Cement, and then you look at Innocent Manufacturing that built his own company in Nnewi, his hometown. Now, I can also tell you that location this time around does not matter in business, because a lot of people buy things. Now, I am going to go in a more civilized world where the social media has made it possible that I can be talking from my own village, or I can be saying things from my village, and someone in the US, Canada, even Australia will hear my words and my voice very loud and clear. So you cannot tell me that your supply chain is basically in Lagos, because Lagos is the corridor to West Africa. No place is a corridor to anywhere anymore. With the existence of the social media, information revolution have altered a lot of things. So if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had put a lot of energy towards trying to develop a sustainable ecosystem, business ecosystem for Ndi Igbo, we would have been more better operating in the southeast than running to Lagos and then lawlessly building and erecting structures indiscriminately, so that na akutukwa ya ndị ụmụnne gị asị, hey, na destroy business ndị Igbo, hey, na akwatu ụlọ ndị Igbo. You didn't get approval. All right, and that is why some of those structures are always brought down. But if the southeast, with the crop of leaders we have today in the southeast, you come to Enugu, you see Pitamba, you go to Abia State, he has done something very unimaginable. For instance, I can always tell you that Abia State has been very unlucky, because with all the revenue, potential revenue, that Abia State was supposed to be generating, or they always generated, all the governors have actually failed until someone like Alex Oti came in. Now, Ndi Igbo must think on a very sound and profound strategy from which industries can be erected in the southeast. The industries we have in the southeast are not enough. It cannot employ even 20% of the graduates we churn out on a yearly basis. Cannot employ how many people can the companies we have in the southeast employ? Very minimal. So the migration of Ndi Igbo from the southeast to other parts of Nigeria is born out of necessity, not out of what? Convenience. If other Igbo people can come and build their factories in southeast, look at Beloxi. It's owned by an Igbo man. He built his company in Ogun State. And do you know how many Yorubas that are being employed there? Even Igbo people. A lot of them are being employed in those companies. And then you always know that there is always a quota system for the community where you establish your company, right? Just imagine that every Igbo man was thinking like maybe Innocent. an Igbo would have been better. That is why I always, like Gaius Chubeze always says, we believe in economic Biafra. That is the economic emancipation of Ndi Igbo. Let us have that ideology of not just Akuru Ono, but the ideology that you can start building in your hometowns. Lagos and Abuja or Kano or Ogun State is not the only corridors to Africa. Even your minute village can be a corridor if you produce goods that is in high demand, just like Innocent is doing. So basically, I encourage every Igbo man to always look inwardly, bring your business home, and let's make our Igbo better.